Are you hiring right now? Are you having trouble finding qualified applicants? A lot of employers are having a hard time finding employees who are a good fit for their team.
They have a lot of questions, such as, what is the one thing that I could do to increase the chances of recognizing the right employee? Or, how important is the resume? Or, what are the things that I should look out for in the interview? Yung mga questions, attorney, how can I know if the applicant's career plan is aligned naman with us as employers? Or even, what's the one thing I can do as a recruiter to show that I am professional?
Wow. To help you guys out, we invited our friends from StackPH, a company that assists BPO businesses in filling in personnel vacancies by handling recruitment functions for them. Professional recruiters.
Yun, professional.
Yeah? But before that, let's do a quick shout out to our reader, Anthony C., who writes, "Attorney, it was very helpful. It is definitely straightforward and easy to understand." Well, nagustuhan niya yung videos natin.
Thank you so much.
It takes a load off my mind, and I'm talking about a life savings load. Ano kaya itong
kaya yan?
Oo, na-intriga rin ako. Thank you for the video. Well, Anthony, I'm very happy that we were able to help. So let's get on with it.
This episode is brought to you by the Complete Employee Discipline System, a book that teaches owners, managers, and supervisors how to handle any offense easily and systematically. It provides step-by-step procedures from incident reports all the way to the clearance process. Stand your ground and discipline with confidence. Go to info.legalguide.ph/discipline to learn more.
Welcome to Legal Guide Philippines, where we simplify the law to help you make better choices. And in this episode, we have something special for you guys. Dun sa mga nahihirapan na mag-recruit, small business owners, medium-sized business owners, big business owners, lahat yan nagre-recruit, di ba, Atty. Ramon?
Ngayon nga, nagre-recruit tayo.
Actually. So alam natin yung hirap na dinadanas ngayon.
Yes.
And there are definitely a lot of issues when it comes to recruitment. So we thought, actually, para makalibre na rin tayo ng advice, di ba? Being in the recruitment mode ourselves, why don't we invite recruitment experts into the show? That way our viewers, as well as our own clients and our own students, would be able to benefit from their experience. So today we have our friends from StackPH. Guys, say hello to everyone. And I'd like to give you guys the floor to introduce yourselves. Go ahead.
Ladies first.
Hi, I'm Christine. You can call me Kitty. I'm one of the VPs or Vice President for Corporate Search. So what I mainly do is oversee the operations, and of course, I also do interviews, coaching sesh, and facilitating yung onboarding ng candidates natin. Yes.
Nice. Just the kind of person we need to be talking to.
Yes.
Okay.
So I will consult Christine later.
Good. Ed, sir, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. I'm Gerald. I actually am one of the faces. We're two actually. My wife and me. My wife Stacy. I'm Gerald. That makes up GDV. V is for the surname. Anyway, that stands for God Delivers Victory. So not too Christian about it, but everything that we do, we offer it in prayer, even the start of the day. Now, we've been in the industry for quite some time now, 5-6 years down the line. And thank you for acknowledging us as experts. But as per ourselves, we're still learning. Every day is a learning experience for us. So,
well, most definitely, kung araw-araw kasi wala kayong ginawa kung hindi maghanap ng aplikante, mag-vet, mag-interview, and mag-endorse, that would make you guys experts more than us or anyone else na yung recruitment activities medyo sporadic or kung kailan lang kailangan.
Right.
So what we have planned for today is we came out with 5 tips. How many? 5 tips for people who are recruiting right now. And Guys, are you ready to discuss the 5 tips? Ito, we were able to collate it together. But I think we all agree on how important all of these are. So are you guys ready to get started with the first one?
Yes, ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Just
first
quickly.
one is proper metrics makes hiring easier. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Check na check, di ba? So,
Yes.
so what does this mean? Proper metrics makes hiring easier. That means, Attorney Ramon, in terms of legal documentation, kailangan naka-black and white kasi dapat kung ano yung gagawin ng empleyado. So usually, this takes the form of a job description. Christine and Gerald, would you confirm? Yun usually, di ba, for recruitment, job description ang pinag-uusapan. Para lang malinaw sa nag-hire at dun sa hina-hire, ano ba yung magiging takbo ng buhay niya kung sakaling tutuloy siya dito sa application na to.
Nice.
For me, it makes it easier because, alam mo, Attorney Ramon, minsan itong recruitment parang pag-ibig yan.
Bakit parang pag-ibig?
Kasi kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung hinahanap mo, minsan dumaan na sa harap mo, hindi mo napansin. Yun na pala yung the one.
Naku, parang nangyari sa akin yan nung nag-i-interview ako dati. Marami pala akong pinalampas.
Oo kasi if you don't have a good picture of what kind of employee you're looking for, napakahirap to determine. Guys, can you share some stories on that? Baka may naging experience din kayong ganyan.
Yes, marami po. For instance, when we are trying to look for a specific role, for example, internal recruiter, so yung job description, what the candidate will do when he gets on board should be indicated on every job postings, as well as the qualifications. Because we had this encounter back then. Now we only posted the job title itself, like for the internal recruiter, and yung applications na submitted onto us was very a huge volume of candidates. May mga pumasok na hindi na siya relevant or far relevant na to what we are looking for. And then yung talagang qualified, we missed that. So in terms of like giving out proper metrics, we are really specific what we are trying to look for, what the specific talents or skills, and that will be that will give more advantage into the candidate's end.
Christine, I have 2 observations about what you said. First off, kapag marami pala nag-apply, that's not always a good thing, ano? Kapag sobrang dami yung nag-apply, it's not. Kasi parang matatabunan pati yung qualified.
Yes.
So, mas okay na konti ang nag-apply pero quality. That's what we're aiming for. Am I
Yes.
getting you correctly?
Yes.
Ayan.
Mostly.
And then number two, kung malinaw kasi yung metrics mo, actually, yung mga aplikante na yung magsi-self-disqualify. Kasi
Yes.
kung malinaw yung nandito, ay, hindi ako yan, hindi na sila susubok. Am I getting you correctly?
Mhm.
Correct.
Tama, ano? So I guess, Attorney Ramon, it makes life easier for both applicants and the employer. Kasi totoo lang, nakakapagod din mag-interview eh. Ewan ko sa inyo guys, kasi kayo araw-araw nyo ginagawa. But for people who do it sporadically like we do, medyo draining siya. Medyo draining. So the less people that we have to interview to get to the right one, that would be better.
Nice.
Okay. Anything to add, guys, to tip number 1?
Let me just add like what I believe in. Everyone is qualified
Mm-hmm.
until until you see everything in paper, which is the reason why you're not qualified. So babalik pa rin dun sa stipulated na job description. Everything should perfectly match.
So what you're saying by everyone qualified, lahat naman pwede mag-apply. Pero kung matatanggap ka, ibang usapan 'yon. Okay. That's very good. So with that, siguro, let's move on to tip number 2. And this deals with the resumes that we get kasi. And tip number 2 is go beyond the paper.
Anong ibig sabihin ng go beyond the paper?
Huwag ka masyadong palaasa sa resume.
Kasi
Kasi
may job description na nga.
no, may job description.
Okay.
But we're talking about the paper na sinasubmit ng aplikante.
Yung
the resume. Na
biodata.
Inabibili sa National Bookstore. Or CV.
Very nice. Very nice.
Mr. 9-piece boy. Okay, so pag nakatanggap ka na biodata na nabili sa National. Okay. So what we're saying here is treat the biodata tuloy, the resume as a mere starting point. Do not be confined to that. Kasi there are some recruiters or employers na kapag may nakitang hindi masyadong gusto sa biodata, parang out na kagad ito. For some, it may be selection of school. For some, educational attainment. But for me,
grades.
Pwedeng grades. Okay? So for me, one tip is, sure, it may be a parang minus punto siguro. But for me, don't let it parang disqualify the applicant right away. Siguro pwedeng isama mo pa rin for interview. Kasi if you get rid of that just because of something on the paper, you might end up missing on a lot of qualified people. Ang dami ko ng experience. On paper, hindi siya shoot na shoot. Pero after ko nakausap, after dumaan ng probationary period, napakagaling mag-perform. You know why? Kailangan kasi may patunayan.
May gustong patunayan.
Yes. So parang nandun yung drive. Mas gusto ko na yung ganong empleyado. And I would have missed out on that employee if I had relied exclusively on paper. Guys, what do you guys have to say about that? Baka may similar experience kayo dyan and tips.
Well, on our end, hindi talaga kami nagbabase sa CV lang. We merely go beyond on the content. Maybe the work experience, that's where we're trying to focus into. But we had a lot of candidates kasi na very colorful yung CVs nila, super ganda ng photo, and may mga colors pa, objects, and so on. But then again, when it comes to the interview, it's different. Okay, yung talagang nakakalusot pa in the interviews, those are the kind of CVs na black and white lang, and minsan selfies pa yung gamit nila. But of course, we would not be encouraging na selfies lang ilalagay sa CVs. The point is that it doesn't really matter if it's like very colorful or there's a lot of designs, but you have to make sure, guys, that if you're trying to apply, the educational background is there, the relevant work experience is there, because yun yung nagkaka-add points. Yung nagbibigay ng way for you to have additional points on the screening pa lang. And yes, vice versa, may mga magagandang CV na hindi ganun nagbibigay ng great performance during the interview, and meron din namang hindi ganun kagandang CV pero sobrang bongga pagdating sa interview. Something like that.
So I guess the lesson here is treat the piece of paper as a starting point. Don't let it be the determinant. Or else you might miss out on great applicants.
Agree.
Which leads me to point number 3. Ito naman, pagdating sa interview, Attorney Ramon. Okay. Pagdating sa interview, be aware of the attitude while interviewing. Napakalaking bagay nito eh. Kasi, as I remember, parang sa law school lang to, Attorney Ramon. Remember nung nag-apply tayo for law school? May written exam.
Yes.
And then may interview after.
At least nung time natin.
Yeah. I guess what they were trying to do is, okay, may laman ba yung kokote nito? Qualified ba to? That's where the written exam comes in.
Okay. May stock knowledge.
Stock knowledge, oo. But again, the personality shines kasi during the interview. So I think what they were trying to determine during the interview was, maayos bang kausap ito? Does this potential applicant have the personality that fits with
the school, the law school?
Oo. And I'm very curious to know, guys, what are the things na tinatanong ninyo or binabantayan ninyo during an interview which would reveal the right attitude?
Okay. So, there are different sides kasi if we are doing off-cam interview and then on-cam interview. So, of course, if it's off-cam, ang naririnig lang natin is yung voice nila. So, we are trying to listen kung paano sila sumagot, if it's one-liner only, kung paano yung tono nila. of course, may maririnig naman if masungit talaga si candidate or not. And yes. And also if it's about on-cam interview, so mainly yung gestures and how they present themselves, because it speaks a lot about a candidate's behavior if he's trying to attend the interview ng nakasando lang, or
So non-verbals
or,
basically binabantayan din ninyo. It's not just what the
yes.
applicant says, even the way they present
Uh-huh.
themselves or yung tono ng boses,
Yes, of
malaking
course.
bagay pala yan.
Yes.
Meron
Yes.
bang meron
And
bang
of course,
nag-a-attend
aside
ng interview na nakasando lang? Nakaranas na ba kayo, no?
Yes. Mhm. We
Malakas ang
had.
loob, pare.
Baka
Malakas
depende
ang
sa posisyon.
malakas ang pananampalataya niya sa resume niya. Nakaya raw ng resume niya.
Hindi niya sinunod yung tip number 2.
True. Do you have some questions that you might want to share na pwedeng gamitin namin and our students as well, which would be a good indicator for attitudes?
We actually have a couple, but I think what I can share is if we can ask the candidates if they have any background having conflicts with their previous colleagues, or nakipag-away ba siya sa supervisors niya back then. Because of course, if he had conflicts on the previous employers, there's something with the behavior as well.
It might be a continuing issue kasi.
Yes.
I agree. That's a good tip, Attorney Ramon. So isusunod na interview natin, tanongin natin.
Tatanungin natin bakit ka umalis? And,
Pwede rin.
what was your relationship with your employer or employees, diba? And siguro if we hear something negative, baka possible indication na it's not you, it's them, or it's them, not
Yes.
you, or something like that.
Could be like
Okay.
that. Okay. Which leads me to tip number 4. Ito guys, I'm enjoying this a lot and I'm learning a lot. I hope the viewers are learning as well. And which leads me to tip number 4, which is see where they are planning to go career-wise. Kasi, Attorney Ramon, would you agree mahal mag-recruit?
Yes.
Oras ng mga nag-i-interview, yung pag-place ng job ads, yung pag-train, yun ang mabigat di ba? Iti-training mo. And then,
Nakapagod.
and if it's not a good fit, ang pinakamasakit dyan after 30 days, or minsan nga wala pang 30 days, haalisan ka. And then you have to do the whole thing over again. Bayad ka na naman ng mga job placement ads. So guys, we're very curious. Are there questions that you can ask during the interview to know where the applicant is moving career-wise? Para hindi naman yung parang inasikaso natin and then biglang umalis. How do you know if it's a good fit from the interview itself?
Well, the main question we actually throw sa mga candidate in knowing their future plans is how do they see themselves 3 to 5 years from now? So we encounter that a lot, I guess. Ako din na nag-a-apply ako. But then again, if we are trying to go in depth, we are giving them situational questions na we are giving options to see what will they choose. Like, okay, if you have a chance to go back in school or to go back, or to go abroad for other opportunities, what will you choose? So, of course, if the candidate chooses to go abroad or to go back to school, yes, medyo ligwak na siya.
I
Kasi,
think that
yes.
speaks to the longevity, nung intention.
Yes, absolutely. Because we have this what we call flight risk candidates, and it will really affect the recruitment process because we have to replace them again.
That's true.
So as recruiters, we want to reduce the attrition rates naman for every role that we are trying to acquire. So we really have to know if they really want to establish their career with us for a long period of time, or just to jump in lang for experience. So that's something that those are the candidates that we are trying to avoid.
Siguro just to balance things out. Kasi yung premise na pinag-uusapan natin, this is for full-time employment na regular na tuloy-tuloy. Siguro,
Right.
this is not to say na hindi employable yung mga gustong mag-abroad or short time
Oh,
lang.
yeah.
Siguro, ilalagay lang din natin sa lugar kasi meron namang mga employment na just for this amount of time para naman yung expectations ng ng employer nagma-match din. Sige, balak mo mag-abroad, no problem kasi yung kontrata mo naman with us just for this amount of time. Siguro it's just a matter of finding the right fit for the for the where the employee is career-wise at the time of application. But I agree with you guys, kung sakaling pine-present niya na pang full-time ako and then regular and then parang biglang gusto naman palang umalis, that's totally unfair para sa employer. I agree.
I think in line with that, sir, we can also try to know if they have pending applications to other companies or of course to jobs na
Competitors.
based abroad. So if they have pending, we also have to know nasan na silang part ng recruitment process nun. Kasi if for employment na din sila doon, it's again flight risk candidate. If mag-on board na din pala sila doon, then they just want us to be one of the options, something like that.
And aamin ba sila normally? Parang natanong na ako yan before when I was applying. Do you have other applications? Ako naman parang, no, definitely not. Kahit meron. So, usually ba maamin sila?
Usually, yes. Umaamin naman. But of course, there are candidates na hindi rin nagde-disclose if they have pending applications.
Oh, you take them as it is, attorney. Whatever they say audibly dun sa sa'yo. And it's okay kasi recruitment is perspective. Sabi nga ni Attorney Zach kanina, you don't stop like employing them kung hindi sila employable. Everyone's employable. We just have to match them with the right. Well, we just have to fit them.
Kung sakaling hindi dito sa posisyon na to, ihahanap kita ng iba. Tama.
Yes.
Nice. I like that.
And then finally, speaking of, ihahanap kita ng kalalagyan, di ba? Minsan talagang walang kalalagyan And I think this is where tip number 5 comes in. Bring closure. Okay, so ano tong pinagmumulan ng tip na to? Kasi ang dami ko naririnig na reklamo sa mga forum. So yung mga aplikante, apply ako ng apply, pinapunta ako 3 beses na interview. After ng third, wala na ako narinig.
Yun. Nangyayari yan.
Which is true kasi pinaglaanan yung employer ng oras, di ba, namasahe pa yung papunta to, nagbihis pa
Yes.
Diba? Wala man lang feedback. So I guess the feedback mechanism, kung ano na yung status ng application. Guys, do you have some tips for those of us recruiting right now?
Yes, of course. On our end kasi here in StackPH, we always give feedback. Templates via email or SMS. Of course, there are those instances kasi na we cannot give parang a specific reasons why they fail. But as much as possible, we are trying to practice naman those. Kasi there are candidates na there are situations na baka offensive, sabihin na yung communication skills mo kasi ganito. But what we are trying to do on our end is, of course, to practice how to do it in a way na hindi sila ma-offend. Alright, and like proper usage of words. But then again, at the end of the day, we are giving out feedback and we are always opening doors like for future openings again. If they wanted to try it out again. Para naman, at the end of the day, kahit nag-fail sila, they still have that ray of light na baka in the future, I can try to reapply.
Basta't may status lang Hindi mo naman kailangan sabihin natanggap ka pero at least alam lang nila where they're standing.
So tama ba, negative or positive yung result, you guys make it standard to give feedback. And whether it's email, text, call, or whatever. And it's for some of your responses, templatized na siya. Tama ba?
Yes.
That's great advice.
Basta't may sagot. And kasi tayo as recruiters, we expect the applicants to be professional. Ano ba naman na let's complete the circle? Let's be professional in dealing with them as well. Diba?
Agree.
Kung sakaling ano man yung resulta, we give the courtesy of giving them a status update.
Tama?
Ayan. So guys, we tackled a lot. Attorney Ramon, do you mind doing a recap for all of us?
Right. So we basically, with the help of our friends at StackPH, our expert recruiters for today, they helped us with 5 tips. No? The first tip is that when it comes to recruitment, we should start with the proper metrics. So basically, this is where your job description comes in, no? And whatever material that you have, no, to determine the metrics. The second point that we wanted to make is don't stick to the resume or the biodata, di ba? Go beyond that, no? So use it as a starting point. Tama ba, guys?
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
the third is when you're interviewing, yes, maganda yung nakalagay sa biodata or resume or CV, but try to look at the attitude and maybe ask questions that determine the attitude of a person, rather than just, saan ka nag-aral and all those boring questions. No? Fourth, so you see when during your interview, see where they're planning to go. So yan na yung we try to determine, sabi nga ni Ma'am Christina, how many years, how do they imagine themselves in a couple of years, or do they have plans of studying or working for the family business or whatever it is. And lastly, bring closure. So whatever happens, negative or positive, let's be professional and give feedback to our applicant, and whether we do it via text, call, email, or what.
Yes.
Tama ba?
Thank
Guys,
you.
tama ba?
Yes.
Yes po.
Thank you so much, StackPH. So, Attorney Ramon, the way I understand it, may dalawang klaseng sets of people na pwede tulungan ng StackPH.
Okay.
One is mga employers, companies. If you guys need quality applicants or people to fill in your positions, do get in touch with StackPH at stack.ph. Ayan, yun yung website nila.
I think it's
No.
stackph.com.
It's www.stackph.com.
Yes.
Ayan.
All right.
So if you guys need your positions filled, you might want to get in touch with them. The other set of people is qualified applicants. If you want to get placed in quality companies which are looking for people just like you, do visit them as well. They are always in need of quality people. Okay, so they will be able to help you. Guys, any last words for our viewers?
Always stay safe. And if you're really looking for a job, you have to commit. Commitment is always offered and is always asked by each and everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Now, yes. Now, ako, Attorney Ramon, ang dami ko natutunan.
Yep.
Are you happy with the episode?
I'm very happy.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for joining us.
So, wasn't that simple?
Now go make better choices.